There's nothing on my
Yeah, it
there's
is.
not there's nothing on my screen right now. I'm trying to figure out what I must have done wrong.
Hi, Don.
Hi,
How are you?
good. I
There,
thought there'd be more people.
there it
Yeah,
is.
it's the other guy, Steve, didn't think we were on on the right link, so he said he's trying the other one. But I thought there was only one link anyway. I don't know what he's trying.
Hmm.
It's the other guy, Steve Robert Wheeler.
Yeah, it's just the same login and everything, so it's the same stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because he said I tried the link where he says class link, but then I told him it's the same. Anyway,
Is he on Facebook?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Let's see here.
Are you
It's,
guys hearing me at all? Apparently not.
it's
Hello.
strange. Strange, strange, strange.
He just left us. He said, I'm going to try the other link. He said,
Why
ah,
did he
here he is.
leave?
Here he is,
Oh,
Robert.
all right.
Robert,
All right, there
it's,
we go.
I'm back.
but it's the same link, Robert.
Oh, okay.
It's the same.
All righty. Well, welcome everybody.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me at all?
Yes.
Oh, Robert's hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Okay. I had a hard time getting Bluetooth working.
All righty. Well, I had some emails and some questions and stuff, and I thought, you know what? Maybe we should talk about lighting because there's really not much. I gotta get this over here so it doesn't look like I'm talking to my elbow. There's not much I like to talk about more than lighting because it's been everything I've done for over 50 years of my life has involved lighting of some kind. So I love it. There's a lot of intricacies to it. So my goal for this little meeting here is by the time we're done, you're going to know more about lighting than you ever thought you knew about lighting or that you could know about lighting. So before we get going, any specific questions? We had a question about fill cards, what kind of fill cards to use. Cheap, use cheap. I know somebody put a link to V flats up in the
Yeah,
Facebook. Yeah, I ain't never spending $90 on foam core. Come on. No.
no,
I mean, if you have unlimited resources and you're busy, you making money, then your accountant's going to go, "Hey, you know those V flats look pretty good because you can write them off, right?" But until then, man, I never owned them. I use foam core. I use things from Target, those little display things that you can buy. Your kids make displays for school. They work great. They stand up by themselves. Fantastic.
well, yes, in the
Um,
email that you sent me, you told me about Hobby Lobby.
yeah, Hobby Lobby. They have them at
And
Target. They have them.
I
They
went
even
there
have
and
them
found,
on occasion at the dollar store. But
I went there and found, it's a long piece and it's got a slit in it so that you can make like a U shape out of it.
mhm.
And it's cardboard. It's
Yeah, just
essentially
white cardboard.
cardboard.
Yep,
And I got two white ones and two black ones. They were either 199 or 299 each.
yep.
And then I
They'll
got
last you years.
two just like poster board, two white and two black of that.
Hmm.
And Harbor Freight had a whole collection of uh,
Clamps.
the clips, the clamps,
Yep.
a whole collection in a bag. I think there's 10 of them for 14 bucks.
Oh my. Yeah.
And then I got two reflector lamps from Home Depot. They were 10 bucks each.
Are they LEDs?
No, they are not. They didn't. I have an LED. I don't know if it's going to be bright enough.
Well, it's always bright enough. You just got to use a longer exposure. So that's not a problem.
Ah,
But you got the hot ones? They're
yeah,
tungsten?
yeah.
Okay. Just know that when we talk about putting your light close to that scrim, you're gonna have to leave at least 12 inches.
At least, yeah, or it's going to burn a hole through it.
And one other thing, if you can go to Temu or one of those cheap places and get one of those little fans, little a desk fan,
Mhm.
if you can blow that fan across the backside of your scrim, keeping the heat away from the scrim, it'll be better. They
Ah,
will
okay.
catch on fire. Trust
Yeah.
me when I tell you that from experience, they will catch on fire. So
Yeah, so
once
I
I
had a
started using that little desk fan to blow the air away, I was golden.
So I had a question about that.
Mhm,
In the videos that you have from, like you said, 13 years ago,
mhm.
it shows building a frame out of all manner of different material, and one of them is using like furring strips, 1x2s,
Uh-huh.
1x3s.
Yeah.
So as I was walking through Hobby Lobby yesterday, they have regular canvas that's already stretched. You just disappeared. Oh, there you are. So they have regular canvas that is stretched on a wood frame with no bars in the middle or anything. But I was curious if the canvas perhaps might be too thick of a
Yes.
material for the light to be effective enough to be able to use it.
Yeah, it is. It is. But if you
Okay.
look at the way they make the canvas, notice that those corners are reinforced with those little angle irons on the
Yeah,
inside.
they are. Yeah,
That's how you put it together because if you try to nail it or something, it'll come apart.
right,
So I
right.
used on my ones with well, actually my assistant made most of mine, and he's still a good friend and a wonderful guy at building this stuff. He'd buy two sizes of straps, one a little bit larger for the outside and one a little bit smaller for the inside, and he'd do it double. So it was outside and inside reinforced.
Sure.
And those things were really strong, up to about 5 feet square. Then they get wobbly.
Then they get wobbly, sure.
Yeah, but if you're doing 3 foot square, which is a great size, or 4 foot square, which I think is almost ideal, yeah, you should be fine. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what about the scrim as far as minimal, ideal, maximum? 3x3 good enough for a scrim?
3x3 is good enough. 4x4 is perfect.
Okay.
5x5 gets really big. When you think 5x5, you've added 25 square feet more to it.
Yeah, there was a guy last in one of those videos linked to yours that actually did one out of electrical conduit, which is metal.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like it worked very well, but you also needed a regular C-stand, which I can't afford right now,
Right.
and sandbags and knuckles. And there was this other metal thing. It looks very cool. It's really nice looking, but it's also very expensive.
Well,
Uh,
I built that. Did you see the video? I built the big one out of PVC.
yes.
Well, that's what I used that for 5 years
Okay.
because I could take it apart and put it in the back of my car.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed is
Yeah. But yeah,
3/4
4x4
maybe.
is perfect. If you want to start with 3x3 because they're much easier to handle, then I would do that. I definitely would do a 3x3. Anything smaller is probably too small for what I would
Sure,
call a big, beautiful light. So
sure.
3x3 is the smallest, 4x4 is perfect, 5x5, that's 25 square feet more of surface. That's a lot when you think about it. So,
Yeah. So with regard to that and my purchase of the $10 spotlight from Home Depot,
mhm.
switching over to LEDs, what would be the minimum lumens on an LED that you would need to be
Those
effective?
shop lights that they have at Home Depot, those are fine. As far as lumens, I think it's 60 would be the minimum. Hundreds are great, but they're a little bit more expensive. But 60s will work. Yeah,
I
and
think
they have
I
shop
think
lights, regular where remember those ones with the little bars in the front that you put out in your garage. They're
those
cheap,
are
like
halogen though.
$29 and stuff. The halogens,
Yeah, halogen, but those are really
they're hot.
cook hot dogs hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
An
they'll melt
LED,
things. So,
an
but
LED.
they make the same ones in LEDs now, and they'll work fine. You're just going to have to compensate with your shutter speed. That's all. So where with a strobe you could be at a 60th or 100th of a second shutter speed, With these things, you're probably going to be at a 30th, maybe a 15th of shutter speed. Because it's, light is light. It's just the amount of power. So we fix all that with exposure. But yeah, those are great. I did my very first product I ever made was over 20 years ago, probably closer to 25 years ago at this point. Was a video on how to use those shop lights to do portraits, and basically building a scrim and building a V card and everything like that. And Strobist did a nice review on it, and I sold probably 400 of those things. It was a really great summer. But I filmed them on a flip camera, if you can imagine. So they're just awful videos today compared to what we can do on our phones. But yeah, I'm a big believer in do it yourself. One of the reasons I teach the way I teach is I see a lot of people teaching in big studios with, Broncolor lights, and they're showing you all this. Well, all that's really great, and Broncolors are really great. I have pro photos, but I don't want you guys to get the idea that you have to have a Broncolor or you have to have a pro photo to do photography. Nothing could be further from the truth. You can use all kinds of inexpensive materials and inexpensive lights to make high quality photography. We've done it for decades. So for years.
And I have another question just so
Sure.
that I can gauge myself in this class. Is there anybody here that is either on par with me or knows less than I do about lighting? Apparently not.
Well, that's good. That's good because I want to see.
Well, I'm the least informed person about lighting that you have in your classroom right now. I
Okay.
know.
I
know
think
that if
I think
pull the
that's
shade up, I have light.
I think that's fine because I think that'd be really it's going to be really fun to see where you are in 8 weeks.
You'll learn
Okay.
more, and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. I've had a lot of fun this week just trying to set things up, and it's been very instructive.
Well, I just got all my materials together as of yesterday. So I haven't even begun to set anything up yet. I don't have a table. I got to come up with a table.
The simplest table, the better. Find a card table at a flea market, Saturday sidewalk sale or something. Little card table's just fine.
Yeah, but Amazon has got a card tables. They are really inexpensive, plastic, foldable ones. I got one for something like $20, and it works really fine. It's square, and you can put some bed drops which are rectangular. No problems. And it's only $20.
They can be a little flimsy. So what I've done in the past is just put sandbags on them. And you can make your own sandbag. It'll a yard of canvas from Joann's, and put sand in it and sew it up, or water bottles, those gallon jugs you buy milk
Yeah.
in. Fill one of those up with water, put the top on it so it doesn't leak. Put 2 of those on the table, and the table gets real solid. It's not going to move.
I have an old coffee table out in the garage. It's really sturdy. It's rock solid, but it's only coffee table height.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I would just have to modify the way I set everything up to be able to use it.
Get what kind of, does it have legs or does it have a bench on the ground?
It's 2 feet by 4 feet. It's
Yeah.
solid wood. It's probably
But what do the
almost-
legs look like? Are they a leg or are they a bench on the ground?
No, they're legs. 4
Okay,
legs.
get 4 cinder blocks. Can't get anything cheaper than cinder blocks.
That's a good idea.
Put them up, put that thing on there, and then somehow with like a cable or something, like a rope, like laundry rope that they use. Get that thing wrapped and stuff so it can't slide off the cinder blocks while you're working, because that would be a disaster. But yeah, you can make.
I'm a contractor, so I can come up with that part.
You can do that.
But the table itself it must weigh the table's probably close to 70-75 pounds. So it's
Well, it's probably not going to fall off the blocks in anyway.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that'll work.
It's
That'll
coffee
work.
table height. So all I'd have to do is adjust the stands and the light and everything to the table height and then kneel down with the tripod and just do this on my knees. That's not a big deal. I can make it work if that's a usable surface.
Absolutely. 2 feet
It's
by
only
4 feet?
2
Absolutely.
feet by 4 feet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even better.
Yeah. You can do a lot of work on that.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
All right.
All
So
right.
I was racking my brain to come up with an idea how to show you guys lighting, and I hit on a way to do it. So if it looks a little clunky, please be kind. At least it works. And I built it in Photoshop layers so I could move it around and watch and have you guys see it. So what we're going to be looking at is this tabletop right here. And here's our inches. And here's our exposures. Do you recognize the exposures?
Yeah.
That's the inverse square law right there.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
and 4.5 or F4, I'm sorry, F4 would be where? Twice the length of this because everything doubles. So it would be way the heck out here. And then 2.8, well, it's way the heck out here. So I'll show you how that works. So we're going to get into that. But I want to get the concept so everybody understands, Jay and Robert and all you guys understand. So this is our point source. First thing, the inverse square law is based on one lamp in the MIT science building somewhere, one lamp. So they're basing everything off of one lamp. So when you hear on the Facebook all these weird geeks will come out and go, well, the inverse square law doesn't work on everything. Yeah, it does. Maybe you're off by a centimeter or so, but we're photography. We're fine. We're well within the tolerance of change, okay? So if you have one light and it comes out to one right here, this is our closest area, it fills this one square. When you double the distance of it, it only fills up one square of 4. Think of an 8 by 10. And I think of an 8 by 10 and you say, okay, here's an 8 by 10. What if we double it? If we double it, it's not 8 by 20, right?
No.
It's
16 by
8 by, it's 4 8 by 10s because we've doubled both
Oh,
sides. We've doubled this side and we've doubled this side.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's how lighting works. We've gone twice the distance, and now we are only covering 1/4 of it. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. In other words, one stop, half as brighter, two stops, half as brighter. So if this is F16, this is not F11, one stop less. This is F8, two stops left. Less? Where's F11? Right there in the middle. Comes out farther. This is no longer uh, that range there. Now it's only coming out to 3. So this is really 5.6 because it's, again, all of this stuff. If it comes out to this big, then it's F4. So light falls off in quantity as it goes out. This does not show the distance very well in this particular graph.
So the wider it is, it falls off correspondingly widthwise, not only distance-wise.
Yeah, it falls off
Oh,
height,
okay.
width, and distance.
Okay.
Same thing for another way to visualize it. So the inverse square law is one of those scary things that when you talk to photographers about it, they're like, "Oh, I don't know that." Let's look at some practical applications of it because there are many. And I gotta share where is it? Right there. All right. So I have movable things on here so we can show it. So I'm showing the light at 2 foot and 4 foot. This is where I would make your string meters, okay? In reality, I'm going to put a layer above it here so I can play in that layer. In reality, we have to be very aware of the challenges we might have to the space that we're working in, okay? So if we're going to use the inverse square light purely, we would take all of our readings from the light source out, the light source. Then we would deduct 2 stops for the panel. Because every panel I've ever used, translum, shower curtain, triple silk, whatever, 2 stops. That's the rule. Unless you buy something specifically, like very specific lighting diffusion material that says only 1 stop, then you could do that. But for us in our studio, we're not going to bother with that. That's going to be a challenge at all. So we're going to set our light at 2 feet away, and then we're going to make our string from the base of this meter here and that of this thing here. I've tilted it so you can see what it is instead of just making a square. But we start here, and then as we go out, you can take a tape measure if you'd like, and just put a tape measure right there. Just tape it down on your table. Because the nice thing about the inverse square law is it works every time. Every time. It's like a piano. If you hit middle C on the piano, you need to get middle C, right? You can't hit it one time, get middle C, and the next time get B flat, because you could never repeat anything. The beautiful thing about this is it's physics. It's repeatable. So we're going to measure one at 2 feet, because that's going to give you probably a little bit of brighter spot right in here, give you that modeling look. And we're going to do one at 4 feet. So we're going to actually take our light back to 4 feet and then create a second meter, maybe a second string, whatever. Everybody good with that so far? I don't want to get ahead over my skis. I want everybody on board, right? All
Yeah.
still on board? Okay. Makes sense?
So why do you have that screen on top, that on top of the light? What is it? Why do you put that above the light, above 2 feet, you got a light, and then you got this screen next to F22 that comes down.
This?
Why? Yeah. Why did you
We're
put
not
that?
talking
Camera,
about
isn't it?
that yet. We ain't
Okay.
there yet.
Okay, that's why I got.
Yep, not there yet. We'll get there. Okay,
Okay.
so your first exercise is simply to put your tomato or what you're shooting right there on the 4-inch line. Put your scrim at the 8-inch, and then put it at the 12-inch, and then put it at the 16, and then put it at the 20, or you can go as far as you want with it. Okay? To watch the difference of what? The shadow that's created here. That shadow will change the farther out you get. If you get it out to here, there's nothing from here to here. It doesn't matter. There's a point on your set where moving it won't make any difference. So if you're shooting tethered, you look at it and go, okay, I don't see any difference. Great, stop there. There's no reason to continue. But this is where we
Just
start.
to interrupt for a second, I apologize. That's not a scrim, that's the reflector, right? Or
Yeah, I'm a
the-
reflector. I'm sorry, did I say scrim?
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, this
Okay,
is
the
reflector.
scrim is the big gray thing in front of the tomato, right?
This is a scrim.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, this is a reflector card.
right.
So that's the first of your experiments. That's the one I'm asking you to do. Let me show you a second set of experiments that are really, really important. Okay? So you've done this with your tomato, and you've done, so that's shot 1. Then you move the tomato to 8 inches, and you do it again. Boom, 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 out like that. And then you move your tomato to 12 inches, right? Do you see that you've gone from F22 to F16 to somewhere between 16 and 11
Yeah.
in 6 inches?
Yeah, because you're far away from the light.
Yeah, but only 6 inches farther away from the light, and yet you've cut it by a stop and a half. That's
Yeah.
that immediate fall off. Okay, so you do that. So let's go back. Then you go, okay, great. I'm going to move my tomato back to there. I think I made it smaller there, and then I'm going to move my scrim back to where we started. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, the fill card back to where we started. Now do the same series, but move the fill card up here. And then out, then out. Probably right about there, not going to get anything. Okay. So that's really cool. You're gonna see right there, like it does make a difference where the fill card goes. I see so many people working on the table and they put I said, why'd you put it there? Oh, that I just wanted to fill it in. There's more to it. There's way more to it. You're going to see that this creates a bit more of a little rim on the back than it does anything to the front. And then the third one, obviously, we're going to drop it all the way down here. So it's all the way in front of the tomato. This will be a different fill on the tomato.
Okay.
Run it again. Now it sounds like I'm asking to make a whole lot of photographs. That's because I'm asking to make a whole lot of photographs. But you're not going to print them, so there's no printing expense. You're just going to be looking on your screen. You will learn so much from this exercise, it'll blow your mind. Now we're going to put it back in the middle. And again, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to show you something that I didn't ask in the assignment because I wanted to keep it so everybody could do it without freaking out. Then move this back. Move this back to your forefoot and do it again. When you're up this close with it at 2 feet, what's the first thing you notice? This light is not bleeding off of this scrim, is it?
No.
So it's pretty much in the middle and a little bit off to the side. Now, when you move it back 4 feet,
It takes all the screen.
now your light's going past the scrim. So if you've got a background back here, a wall or something, you're getting light on it. We bring in a flag and we flag it off. We are blocking the light that's going beyond this. But if you look at the tomato, have we changed the light on the tomato at all?
No.
Not at all.
Oh, so what's happening is the light source, instead of reflecting off the wall, is hitting the flag and killing something of incidence off the
spill.
wall.
It's just killing the spill. The
It's
light
killing
that's,
the whole thing.
that's
If you
blasting past
remove
this.
the flag, if you remove the flag,
If I
and you're
remove the
bouncing
flag,
right off the wall,
it's
you're getting that incidental light from the wall to the tomato.
exactly. In other words, you're getting light that you didn't want.
Right.
If you want
That was
it,
an easier way to say it.
if you want the light on the wall, then you know how to get it. If you don't, you know how to get rid of it. Everything we do in photography, I believe, has to be deliberate. So if you say, well, if there's light on the wall, and you go, yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that little bit of light to fall in the wall, and it gave me a little bit of dimension. Well, that's great. I want to make sure y'all understand there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's the way that you deliberately do it. The more you know, the more deliberate you can be. So we can flag this thing off and kill that extraneous light. But the important thing is to know is that there's no change in the way the light interacts with the tomato. None. We haven't if we go, okay, we put it down here, then what happens? We're blocking off the light. Did we change the light on the tomato? Yeah, we blocked all this light off the tomato. And guess what? It changes. Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? No, it just changes it. So my point is, this isn't where when I show you this to block the light off the wall, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I'm saying this is a way to do it. You can
This is
bring
the
this thing
effective
all the way down like that and really, really kill it off the back, but you're also changing the way the light works. You now have half the light lighting up the tomato because this light back here isn't getting to it. So play with that flag. I think I said in one of the earlier in the first class, if you're not using flags on your set, I don't trust your lighting. Every single shot is probably going to have a flag on it. I flagged even fashion shots because I want to sculpt the light, make it work for me. I don't want it to just be, put up an umbrella and shoot. That's a little sloppy for me. So unless it works, I don't know. Sometimes that's all you need, but I want to be really consistent with it. So this is our fall off. The thing I really want to show is look at this tomato here. Let's bring our fill card out to about there. Look at our tomato. From the middle of the tomato to the edge of the shadow, it drops off a full stop. That's a lot of fall off. If we didn't want that much fall off, what would we do? Well,
Close.
probably come out here and take our tomato and move our tomato farther away from the light. Now, from the tomato to the fall off of the tomato is about a third of a stop. The light becomes flatter. And as it becomes flatter, it becomes much less with the shadow.
The
And
shadow
overall,
diminishes significantly, wouldn't it?
what's that?
The shadow would diminish significantly.
Yes.
It would be just a faint shadow
Yes. Well,
or a flat shadow.
it'd be a flat shadow. It'd be just, out there. Also the difference though is as we move away from the light source, what happens to the light source? It gets smaller, right? In relationship to the tomato.
Oh yeah. You talked about that the last meeting.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
if you're standing next to a car, it's big. If that car's across the parking lot, it's just little. It's only this big. So it gets bigger. So that makes the shadow sharper. But the light on the tomato becomes very much flatter. So if you're doing that, you bring your fill card into here, you can almost eliminate the shadow, period. The most important change is from here, this background here is flat. There's no fall off. Up here, there's a whole stop fall off.
Yeah.
Let's stop brighter on this side of your picture of your tomato and a stop darker on this side on the surface that you're shooting, the wood or the paneling or the seamless, whatever. Here, there's not much difference at all. In fact, a little fix and a little twist in Lightroom and it's gone, right? So the way to make flatter light is to do this. Move it away from the light source. Let's get back up here. So in wedding photography, which we don't do here, but in wedding photography, I've watched photographers do like, let's say you have, let's go back, let's say you have, let me go change sharing here, back to our page here. You're doing a wedding, and you've got the bride and groom and the groomsmen and all that stuff, and you've got the bride and groom up here, and the bridesmaid, blah, blah, here. And then you've got back here, you've got all the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. And then back here, you got some more groomsmen and bridesmaids. So if these people aren't like really fat, you probably have between here and here about what, 4 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the photographer sets up his umbrella right about here, about 4 feet from our first person here. He's got his umbrella and takes a shot. This is 4 feet. The shot's let's say F8. Shot's F8. That's really great. What happens back here? Well, there's 5.6. And back here, the shot is F4. The people in the back are 2 stops darker than the people up front. because the light fell off so fast, right? Double the distance, 2 stops. 4, 4, double the distance, 2 stops. You know what they'll do inevitably? What do you think they do?
They go closer,
Yep.
inevitably.
They go, yeah, I better bring that light in closer.
Yeah. It should be the opposite. You go farther.
Exactly. Move it back. Move it way back, maybe to 16 feet back here. Then
Yeah.
the difference here is maybe a half a stop.
Yeah.
So,
So may I please ask
Yeah.
a stupid question for me?
uh-huh.
So show me, where's the camera in that?
Oh, here. Camera's here.
So in the first one, the umbrella is way in front of them, and in the second one, the umbrella is way
But
behind.
yeah, this depends on the lens though. I mean, he could be using a wide angle lens from here and a telephoto lens from back here. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the distance of the light. So that's how that kind of works overall. So how do we control that? Well, I linked to making a string meter. I don't know if you guys saw the link. It's on that
Yeah.
page.
did.
Make a string meter. You can do that. You can certainly do that. It makes a lot of sense and it will help you tremendously. Or even easier, get a cloth
Line it.
tape measure and just tape it right on the front of your set. That's all you have to do. It's right there
Tape it where?
on the front of your table.
Oh, I can just, with the table I have, I can just make a mark right on the table, just use the tape measure and catch the
Yeah,
distance.
or just tape it on the front. Just
Yeah,
tape it
yeah,
on the front
okay.
of it, so it's not on the surface, right on the
Now I
front.
understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Can I
So
use a
it's
light meter? Sorry, Don, can I use a light meter to do this exercise? The light meter, so where it will define
if you
the,
have a light meter, then I
yeah,
would say use the light meter
yeah,
and not worry about the tape. Okay.
exactly.
But if you have the tape, this is a big but. But if you have the tape there with your light meter,
Yeah,
you're smart, Lucia.
yeah,
How long is it going to be before you don't need either anymore?
right.
Okay.
Next month, that little knot hole on the table, that's at 5.6, maybe a little push over. You're going to know this table like the back of your hand. As long as this guy over here remains the same.
So Don, let me go back to that question of Jay's because I've been thinking about it, and that the position of the camera question is actually pretty interesting. And I did a test a while back uh, where I was measuring. I put up a mannequin head and light about 2 feet from the mannequin head in the backyard at dark night, and if I move the light closer or further from the mannequin head, all of this stuff works exactly as we're talking about. But then I had it at 2 feet and I had my camera at 2 feet from the mannequin. And then I took the camera back to 4 feet. Then I went back to 8 feet and 16 and 24 feet. And when I moved the camera, the exposure never changed. I
No,
was getting further back. There was no drop.
no,
And for Jay was sort of getting at that with the camera. And when I looked into it more carefully, the deal, Jay, is that when you're moving the camera, the light falls off, but the camera sensor size looks smaller to the subject. And so the change of size of the sensor in relation for how much light it's capturing the size shrinks just as much as the light falls off. So the camera position ends up making no difference whatsoever. It's only the distance of the light to the subject
To
that
the
makes a
subject.
difference.
exactly. What
The
is the
distance,
exposure
the
of the
distance from the
moon?
camera to the subject is irrelevant then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
What is the exposure of the moon?
It's
I
pretty
have
bright up
no
there.
idea.
Yes, you do. Who knows the Sunny 16 rule?
As I was about to, yeah.
I do a bit.
The Sunny 16 rule is f16
100
at
and
1 over your ISO. So if
Yeah.
you're shooting 100 ISO and you're in bright sun, the exposure is f16 at 1/100th of a second.
Would be perfect.
It works every time. And let's say that it's close enough for photography, okay? It's close enough for photography. It's probably a little off on your meter now and then, but I found that my meter runs between 11.9 and 16.2, depending on where I am, okay? So if you know that, what is the moon? It's the sun
Probably F16.
reflecting off a rock. It's f16 at 1 over 100 at ISO 100
Really?
because it's just the sunlight hitting a rock, just like that rock was in Zion or that rock was in my yard. Doesn't matter. There's 3 rules in photography. The only ones I care about. You know that Fibonacci Dooley Baba Boonie or whatever that thing's called, that spiral
Oh,
thing?
Fibonacci, yeah.
Fibonacci.
You can put that on everything. You can put a Fibonacci spiral on that weed out in your yard and it's going to work in some position. It's just, it's so much hooey. Then we have the rule of thirds, but there's no such thing. It's just composition. You find some of the most creative photographs don't fit the rule of thirds. But if you want to make your stuff look like everybody else's, yeah, use the rule of thirds. The last one is so many of those things. The only 3 that work are the inverse square law, the angle of incidence equals angle of reflection, and hold on.
Sunny 16.
Sunny 16, thank you. So what I was talking about, Sunny 16. We were on a big shoot, a full day shoot of photographing toy haulers out in the desert in Las Vegas. The art director had decided he found the perfect spot, which is 65 miles from Las Vegas. We drove 65 miles from Las Vegas, and I couldn't tell the difference of the terrain from 5 miles out of Vegas to 65 miles out of Vegas. But for some reason, that's where we needed to shoot. About 40 miles out, still in the dark, sun hadn't come up yet. My assistant sits right straight up in the truck and said, "Oh my God, I left the light meter in the room." And I said, "No, no, no, think positive." He goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking positive. I'm positive I left the light meter in the room. I can't turn around because I'd never make it there. So I'm relying on just the adrenaline from being scared out of my mind to get me through it." So I get there and I opened up that box that the film comes in. Remember, I don't know if you ever shot film. Anybody ever shot film?
Yes.
You open up the box and that little folded up paper comes out from Kodak, and all we ever did was throw it away. That day I discovered that was a treasure trove of information. Literally I actually had it flattened and laminated for the studio. I can't believe how much good information. But the Sunny 16 rule was in there.
Sure.
The Sunny 16 rule and Polaroids. Well, we shot Polaroids before we did the thing. I produced perfect shots. And I realized how much I relied on the meter, for one thing, and how much I just sort of intuitively know. And we pulled it off. We bracket, of course, we bracket and stuff like that, but there was if I'd had my meter, it wouldn't have made it any better. So knowing the Sunny 16 rule is a huge thing, huge. But let's back to the inverse square law. When you set up your light here, and you've got your light going here, initially doing this, what's the first thing you have to do to your light? Set the power, right? You've got full, medium on flash. On J, you don't have any control over that. Just put the
No.
light there, okay?
It's
But if you're using flash, you set it. So what you do is you set your flash for 1/8 power. Why would you do that?
Because
no
it gives
idea.
you room to change it.
gives you room to go brighter or
right.
less bright.
Yeah.
So if you are, if your light's sitting here and you want to go, you got your tomato here and it's like f22 and you're thinking, I don't want to shoot it at f22 because that's too much depth of field. I could move it back to f8, but what did I just do? I just changed the look of it, right? I now have a much flatter look. I want this look of f22. I want that fall off, but I want to shoot it at f8. If this is on 1/8 power, this is now 22, 1/8 power. We're going to cut it in half. One stop, cutting it in half to f1/16 power. Now this 22 is what? f16.
No.
We've cut the light by one stop. So this is f16. We cut the light from 16 to 16th power to a 32nd power. We cut it again. And it's f11 has moved into the first slot. We cut it to 64th power. And now f8 moves into the first spot. And now we're shooting at f8 because the power is less. And Jay, this is something for you to keep in mind, but this is not for your light because you don't have a dimmer on it, right?
No.
Yeah, so your light stays constant. This is how we shot up until, I would say, year 2000. This is how I shot. My strobes did not have rheostats on them. They were like full power, half power, quarter power. That was it. That's all you had. So you had to move the light back and forth. So that's not a problem either. But if we're going to be really finessing with it, this is great. And Jay, when you're ready to buy a strobe, I have suggestions for you that'll give you exactly what you need for the least amount of money. If you go on Amazon and you look for the Amazon special, I think it even says on mine even says Amazon. You want the cheapest strobe you can get. You don't need ETTL. You don't need anything. You just need a speed light. You should be able to pick one up for about 30 bucks. As long as it goes full, quarter, half, they all do. As long as you can control the speed, that's all you need. You do not need fancy $300 speed light. So, making this a variable, making this a variable, and making this a variable, there's all kinds of things you can do. You could, for instance, you can lower the power to take it down. Now we were at f22 at one. What's your normal ISO? Who shoots normally? What do you have a chosen ISO, Jay, that you always shoot at?
Well, the stuff I shoot is it's hard to explain, but I shoot according to the available light. I shoot outside all the time.
Okay.
So I go by I'll take a shot to see where it is, and then I'll adjust my ISO accordingly, delete the shot I just took, and then take another shot. And
Okay.
if that looks good, then I'll actually set up and compose what I'm shooting and then take the shot.
Okay. Luciana?
Well, depend. If I use the strobe, then I put it at the minimum 250, let's say for the sync speed, for
No, that's shutter speed. I'm talking about ISO.
ISO. Sorry, ISO. I normally try maximum 400, depending.
Okay.
400.
So you're generally shooting at 400?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Robert?
Usually at 100 with strobes and all over the place in other
Right.
situations.
Okay. So if you're at 100 with strobes here, you don't have any place to go for making it less light, right?
Right.
But you do have for more light.
Yep.
So you're sitting here with your strobe and it's f22, and you want to make it f32. if you're lucky enough to have a lens with f32 on it, right?
Right.
You could up the power or raise the ISO. If you're at 100 here, you just change to 200. If you change to 200, what happens to these numbers? They all shift this way. They all shift that way. 22 goes to here, 32 fits in first. 32, 22, 16, 11, 8. Because everything in photography, it's a triangle. Exposure, shutter speed, ISO. When you're using flash, shutter speed is inconsequential. When you're using continuous lights, shutter speed is vital.
Really?
Yeah, because with the continuous light, shutter speed is the only way you can control it.
So the whole process is stable, as opposed to if you're using a flash, the flash only happens as you trip the shutter, which
Yeah. Let me flip back
I
over
can't
here
explain
to
it,
show.
but I understand it.
Let me flip back over here to show you what I mean. Let me share. Okay, so with continuous light, just like shooting outside, your shutter speed controls how much light gets to the film or the film plane sensor, right? So if I drew the sensor here, if I drew it, we're going to make a timeline. This sensor is open for 1/60th of a second here. The light does this, right? It just comes in at one time. With me? All the light comes in during the 60th of a second.
Right.
Robert, right?
Yep.
Okay. If we're using a strobe, it's open for a 60th of a second, but our light only comes in 1/1000th of a second. The thing opens, the flash goes off, it records, and the thing closes. So is there any difference between 1/60th, 1/100th, a minute and a half? Nope. Not in the dark. Not in the dark. Nope. Shutter speed has no relation to this because it's the flash duration that we're seeing. The shutter opens, the flash goes off, the shutter closes. Shutter sync means you have left enough time for the flash to do its thing, which is it ramps up, the flash comes up, and then cuts off like that. That's how a flash works. It's up. You have to have your shutter open at this point of the flash going off. If you have a camera that's a DSLR and you have a 200th of a second shutter speed, flash sync, that means this flash is literally, you know what? I'm going to start over with the drawing because I'm going to get too messy here. Here's your 200th of a second. Your flash is literally doing this. It's ramping up like this and then cutting off just before the shutter closes. If you go to 1/400th of a second, the strobe goes, it ramps up and fires after the shutter closed.
It's shutter sync.
Huh?
That's shutter sync.
Shutter sync. Yeah. When you're syncing with a flash. If you're on a mirrorless, you have to use, you've got a little more latitude. Mirrorless, you can shoot up to about an 800th of a second or a thousandth of a second before the electronic shutter closes. But on a DSLR or any SLR camera, there's a mechanical shutter that opens and lets light in. Therefore, we have to prepare it. So then high-speed sync, I don't want to get over my skis. Does this make sense to you? Why those shutter speeds matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand. What is the difference between just, and if this is going way off subject here, then we can deal with it later. but just regular flash and then shutter sync flash.
The
What's
shutter
the
sync is
result?
on your
What's the
camera.
result?
The shutter sync is on your camera. It'll say you can't use anything faster than 1/200th. What camera do you have?
I have a Canon 5D.
Okay, you have Canon 5D. You can't use flash faster than 1/200th of a second. You probably have a little star on it or something on that number. That's your sync. If you go 1/400th of a second, you're going to get a warning in your camera that your shutter speed is too high. With me? The
Okay.
sync is on your camera.
Right. No, I understand. What my question was what is the difference in effect on the subject that you're shooting using shutter sync or just whatever not shutter sync is? What's the different result?
You will see a
Shutter
black.
sync is a range. So
It's a
it's just a
range.
range.
Okay.
Shutter sync means you can use flash from anything up to 1/200th. You can't go any faster. You can use it at 1/60th, at 1/30th. What difference does it make? In a dark room, it makes no difference. In a room with ambient light, that's how you control your ambient light. We'll get there at the end. Okay.
Okay.
We'll get to controlling ambient at the end. I want to make sure we get through all of this. What was I going to say? Where was I? Do you remember?
We're talking
Yeah, you
about
were explaining shutter sync and the fall off where the light flashed
Okay.
just as
All
the
right.
shutter was half
All right.
closed.
All right. So let's look at it this way. We're actually going to do that ambient because that's where it comes in. Let's say this is our scene line of exposure. We have a subject here sitting at a desk, maybe. Our subject here sitting at a desk. Oh, I know what it was. Hold on, we'll come back to this. We'll come back. I know what it was. So you understanding your inverse square law, this is how you understand fall off from the camera. We were looking at it sideways to the camera, right? Now from the camera. So let's say you have a person, and I see this all the time. You have a person here standing here, and you've got your light right here. I see a lot of stars of light right there. There's the camera down here. A big camera, isn't it? Here's the camera down here. So they put their white seamless back here. To the naked eye, our eye, what color does the white seamless look?
White.
Right.
Right.
When the exposure goes off and he's shooting at f8, 4 feet, 4 feet, what color is the white seamless in the photograph?
50% gray.
Gray.
Yeah.
2 stops less.
Yeah.
4 feet, or it's 2 stops less. Okay. If you moved your subject back to here, right up against the wall, now what color is the white in the photograph?
White.
White.
Yeah.
White. When I finally realized that, it was a big aha moment for me. I went, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. So if you have a white seamless in your place and you move your subject let's get rid of all of it here. Got your white seamless here. You move your subject out to here and your umbrella right here and your camera right here. That white seamless in the photograph is what?
Black.
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 That was a guess.
Yeah.
You will never have a richer black than what is called studio black.
Yeah. It's far away.
It's just rich black. It's much better than paper. You can have black paper here, and that's fine. It'll be black, but there's something about the depth of studio black. So my studio, the last studio I had, was so big that we just painted everything white. If we wanted black, we just moved to closer way farther away from the background. We could control the gray of our background by how close we had our subject to it. The other way to control your background, the most popular and still what we did a lot because sometimes you didn't want gray, is you treat your background and your subject as two different lighting. You light your subject
And you like the
and
background.
you light your background. So Rembrandt lighting, whether it's tabletop or what have you, Rembrandt lighting is simply your item, your subject here, your light over here, two over here, right in here, and then you, in the studio, you put a flag up. So this area is darker, and then you put a light over here, a soft light, and like this, so it starts getting lighter. So you have I'm actually backwards. Never mind. I'm actually backwards. My brain is oh come on. My brain is wrong. So eliminate that, cut that in your brain. Got your light over here. Go over here. Your subject, camera, and then you have a light over here, and you
Flag?
flag this off here, so it's darker. Yeah, I was right, and it goes lighter over here. You have the lit side of the subject against the dark side of the background, the darker background, because you flagged it off, right? Then you have the shadow side of the subject against the brighter edge
Yeah.
of the background. Now
And
you
you
have
brighten it up
shadow
with the
against
other-
light, light against shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
And
have
then the
to-
light on the right assists the light.
Yes, yes.
That's
This would
left.
be far. Let's say this is at 1/4 power. This over here would be like at 1/16 power, or maybe 1/32 power. It'd be cut way back. In your case, Jay, it'd be pulled way back because we just want a little bit
So
of light.
you're helping to light up the lit side that's left after the flagged light is
Yes.
darkened.
That's with a human subject. Let's go back to our Photoshop here, and I'll show you how it works on the table. Option, Photoshop. On the table,
So before you do this, I have a question.
yeah,
Why are you using two umbrellas? Why were you using two umbrellas on the subject?
I
On
said
the
no. I
left
said
side.
from here to here.
No, on the left side, you had them doubled up.
Yeah,
and then
from
right-
here to here. Those two different. It's a range.
Okay.
Range, not I will never tell somebody where to put their umbrella. Never. I'm just saying that's a range from the first one to the second one, somewhere on the left side of you, from 45 to about 30 degrees, generally for Rembrandt.
Okay.
But where you put it, that's up to you.
Oh,
In the
okay.
studio,
Okay, now
it's going to matter where your background is. So if your background is, let's say, here, you're going to have to deal with where you want that darkness to light to be. This is definitely going to light up your background, isn't it? Remember, I try to remember, I make the mistake too. This is a surface. This is a background. Surface, background. Okay. So if this is here, this is going to light that background up. Now you can control it, of course, by bringing this guy in and flagging it off, etc. And that's what you want to do. If your background is farther away, it may not have any impact at all. So it's just going to depend on how close. If your background is right next to your table, you're always going to have issues. Rule of thumb, move your background at least 2 feet from your surface, unless you want the look that you would have. Let's say you're shooting a kitchen shot. Well, no kitchen has a KitchenAid sitting on a counter with the wall 2 feet away. That would be an island, and that wouldn't be a wall. That'd have to be, you know, some sort of setup back there. So if you want the look of that, where a wall touches a surface, then you bring it in close. If you don't, if you're just shooting tabletop, abstract, etc., give yourself some distance. In the little video I made that is down at the bottom of the page we were just on, down at the bottom, I talk about how to control that, and also where to work on the edge. We'll get that in a second. But this gives you a whole bunch of things to try, right? Let's go now for one more variation. Take your light and move it over here. So you're half the way here. Then take your light and move it down here. So the light's all the way in front of the tomato. The scrim is still going to light the tomato, but the heavy highlight will be more forward. The heavy highlight will be farther back. This makes a big difference when you're working. And as a quick aside, how many of you know what a strip light is?
I do. It's narrow.
It's a real
I
narrow
do.
light, right?
It's a rectangular shaped light.
Yeah, it's generally way taller than it is wide. It's like 4 by 12 kind of thing, strip light. Hard to imagine how much money you could spend on strip lights. Because you can buy a 4-inch wide one and an 8-inch wide one and a 12-inch wide one. You'd have all these lights, then you could really show off to the neighbors about how incredibly dumb you are with your money.
Or if
Or,
I may, I have another question regarding the light source.
uh-huh.
In this illustration you're using, from ground to light source, what's the elevation of that versus the elevation of the tomato?
This
From the
source,
floor up.
I have this source dead center of the scrim.
The light itself.
Yeah, middle of the
How
scrim.
far off the floor is the light and how far off the floor is the tomato? Is there like this relationship,
No.
this relationship?
No. Here. So the scrim is 4 by 4, right?
Right,
And it's sitting on the table, right?
okay.
This is in the middle of that scrim.
So that's it, like 5 feet off the floor?
If that's where you have it, wherever you have it.
Depends on the size of your table and the
It
height.
depends on your table.
Okay, so then from that point, my question is, so what happens when you raise the light to say 7 feet so that it's actually, well, you can have it shooting just across the top level?
Yeah,
or if you have it shooting
absolutely.
Down towards the tomato.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
gonna
another way to
change
do
something.
it. I just didn't have it in the drawing here. So you can
So
go
that's going to
sideways
change
with
what
it,
the-
and you can go up and down with it.
And that's gonna change what
Oh yeah,
the light on the tomato looks like.
yes. At the 2 foot, right? What happens at the 4 foot? Pretty much nothing. Because you've lost that hot spot.
But if you raise it 2 feet,
It really
And
won't
leave
make
the
that much
tomato
of a
where it
difference
is.
on your image. Very slightly. Because this is covering, the coverage of this thing is this wide, right? So where you move it's not going to matter, really. But when you have it in 2 feet, here, where you move it, this is 4 feet. This is is only half the size of the scrim. So you can move it up, move it down, and change where the light is on the scrim. When you're back this far, it really isn't going to change things because it's now filling the scrim 100% plus more.
Okay, so I apologize to everybody besides me. So the illustration you're using, I have been misreading it. I have been looking at it the way I'm about to explain it. The beige space that you have there, the
Yeah,
pink beige, I thought we were looking down on the tabletop, the
we are.
tomato sitting on it, the reflectors behind it,
We
the
are.
scrim is in front of it, and the light source is in front of that. I thought we were looking down on that scene.
We
But
are.
what we're doing is,
We are looking down on it. Yes.
But that's for the
So
purpose.
Jay, in the three-dimensional world, the real big deal that I take, particularly from this course, is once you have your scrim set up, you can move your light around and
Exactly.
find out for yourself what the effects are of higher or lower, left or right,
Hey,
angle or not angle.
well, I know
And
you can't, but I
that's
can't
what's
do
real
that.
valuable
if
for me is just trying it because the experiments give give me muscle memory and eye memory of how it works.
I
look,
know, but I won't be
it's
able to do
so
that.
it's so much of a working. This is why you could spend a week doing this or a weekend because you could also get a very small light source, right? And you could put it in that corner and in that corner and in this corner and then up at the top. You could put it way at the bottom and up here and just keep recording those movements. Oh boy, there we go. Keep recording those movements as the way it works. There's no end to what you can do. Move it back, move it quarter. You could move it 6 feet back and see what happens. There's no limit to it. Go corner to corner, top to side, what have you. And of course, the camera is always coming from the bottom up. So yeah, we talked about moving it up here and moving it down here, but I don't have a way to come forward on it. But yes, you can go from the bottom all the way to the top. Does it change? Think about it. If the light was way at the bottom, this is a light that's probably 2 foot by 3 foot, maybe. My drawing, or I don't know. It's somewhere in there, maybe a little bit smaller. And it's at the bottom. So the bottom of the scrim is brighter than the top of the scrim. Think about your tomato. You're going to have a highlight, but it's going to be on the bottom of the curve, right?
Mhm.
Bottom of the curve. As you move it up to the top, you're going to move it up to the top of the curve.
Mhm.
Very slight. Most people wouldn't care, but we care. The most important thing about photography is everything is deliberate. Have you ever watched I was very, very lucky to work on a work. I did a workshop I took a workshop from Brett Weston. Do you all know who Brett Weston is?
I know the
Yeah.
name.
Brett Weston was Edward Weston's son and a brilliant photographer in his own right. He shot Hasselblads. His father shot 4x5. His other brother shot 4x5, 8x10, but he shot Hasselblads. And I watched him set up a scene, and he'd put that camera on a tripod, and he'd look through it for what seemed like minutes. He'd pick that tripod up, and he'd move it over about 3 inches. He'd drop it, and he'd look in. Pick it up, and he'd move it back just a little bit, and he'd look in. Then move it forward a little bit, just then look in. Most photographers would have said, "Yeah, that's cool," click, and moved on. But when Brett did it, every item in that shot was because he wanted it there in that position with that lighting. Great story about his brother Cole Weston. Real quick, and I'll tell it real quick. The new Ford F-150 came out in I believe it was 1966 or 67, and they wanted to get the ad campaign was the greatest photographers in the world, art photographers, photographed this truck. So they hired Cole Weston. And he said, "You're going to shoot the truck." So they bring the truck up to right outside of Big Sur where he lived. and it's all covered. Do you remember that back in the day they would cover the cars because it was the new car and they didn't want anybody to see it. They bring it out, and Cole says, "This is where I want it." And they go up on this little grassy hill, and they park the car, and then the crew comes over and polishes it all up and everything. And Cole's got his camera there, and the sun's going down, and Cole's just sitting there. He and his assistant, they're chatting, and the art director's starting to go, "What, are you going to shoot it?" Cole goes, "Yeah, not. It's not ready yet. No, not yet. Not ready." And they're get going. Finally, the assistant stands up, and he looks at the meter, and he looks at Cole, and he says, "We're close." Cole gets up. He puts that 8x10 slide in. He pulls it out. Boom. He turns it over, puts it in, pulls it out. Boom. He says, "All right, it's a wrap." And the art director from New York is probably having kidney failure at this point because he's dead in the water. He drove all the way out to LA, and they got one frame because the second one was in case the first one was destroyed in the lab, a mistake. Had a backup sheet. Art directors used to photographers going boom, 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 boom. I'm loading and shooting 500 sheets of film. The only one that won an award on that campaign was Cole Weston's shot because he knew exactly what he wanted and exactly what the light would do at exactly that moment. And I've always remembered that story as the epitome of deliberate. I know what I want. I want this. And that's how we have to be. So does it matter to 90% of photographers where that highlight is on that tomato? No, you can go to Unsplash and see a whole bunch of pictures where you knew it didn't matter because it's really not attractive, but it matters to us. So when you get in there, you put that tomato here and you put your light up here, you're not done. You're going to move it over here. You're going to move it down here. We used to shoot Polaroids, which were as expensive. Now it's digital. You take a bunch of shots and go, "That's what I want." I call it sketching. I sketch with my camera all the time before I find that shot I really want to look. I really want to make that shot. So all of these are variable, including the tomato. You can bring the tomato all the way up here if you want. You can move the tomato all the way back there if you want. And that changes 90% of the light behind the tomato. So you get a little bit right here on the side. Is any light getting to the front? Not much. So this is going to go pretty dark over here, especially if you take the reflector here and move it back here. Now you're going to have a little bit of a rim light right on that edge of that black tomato here. There's nothing here for the tomato reflect. But that angle of incidence, angle of reflection right back into the lens. You can take it all the way out and shoot it. Now you're going to have a very dramatic, we call shots without fill light, we call them dramatic. That's just what we do. It's colloquialism that stuck. This is never going to work. Angle of incidence, angle of reflection. You're not even going to see this. It's not even going to come to the camera. So you play with this thing, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm saying tomato. It could be anything you want, but the thing I like about a tomato is it's round and it's shiny. You're going to see the light on that shiny tomato more than if it was a wooden object, because the wooden object doesn't have a highlight, right? There's no highlight on wood. It's just brighter here and softer.
So I have a
Don,
question about that. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I just want to ask Don, it's all clear, this, but for the purpose of the demo, you said that for the purpose of a demo shots, we need to put the light, the edge of a softbox, as close to the edge of a table. I mean, this is not the case. Obviously, the light is moved 2 feet or 4 feet or
No,
whatever.
I never said put the light at the edge of the softbox. I mean, of the scrim, never.
It's written on, maybe I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, no, I would never tell you to do that. The light has the position of the light. This is,
I'm sure, I'm
Don't
pretty
look
sure.
for an absolute. Too many times you're looking for an absolute, guys. You're looking for like, where do I put the light? I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. You can put it here or here or here or here. You can put it anywhere you want. But
I
if you put it
misunderstood that.
next to this right here, then there's no point. You just double scrimmed it. You double scrim the same light. You want to have enough distance. And on your scrim and your light, that might be 18 inches. And on Robert, that might be 24 inches. And on Jay, that might be 30 inches because he's got a hot light. There is no one way to put it.
I misunderstood that. It's the screen that has to be on the edge of a table,
Yes.
closer.
Yeah. The scrim is just like a window on a wall.
Okay, so I can move a light 2 feet to begin with, and then if I want to experiment, I do 2.5, 3 feet to see how it goes, and
Yeah.
then I move the subject up and down for the purpose of the exercise.
Hmm.
For the actual portfolio images, I can do whatever. I can put the lights wherever I want.
Right. Right.
Exactly. That's
Right.
clear.
What I'm trying to do is to have you guys experiment with this table
Yeah.
enough that you start to see how light works. When Jay is done with this experiment, he's going to know more about lighting than he knew today.
Right.
A
That's
lot
great.
more. And he's going to see it. 99% of the photographers will never do this. They'll never do this because they think they know. And I'm here to say you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get until you have it 2 feet back and you move that tomato to about here and you move this thing back here and then you move it back here and then you move it back here. It's digital. They're just popping up as digitals and you're keeping track on your log, where they are. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden you start going, oh, I see how this creates a rim. Oh, I see how this doesn't create a rim. It creates a fill. What happens on the side of this tomato is totally where you put this and in your thing here. And you can find all kinds of places. It doesn't mean that you're going to have 55 places in your log where you put this thing to get a special shot. No, you're going to go, yeah, you're going to probably know what this looks like. You're going to know what this looks like. You're going to know what this looks like. And then you're going to play with it on set for the rest of it. So when you're doing your shot, you're going to have an idea how to experiment and play with this thing. And that's the important part of it. That's the really vital part of it.
Yeah, get it.
Okay.
Thank
So I
you.
have a question along these lines. It's not the one that Luciana asked. So the specular that's showing on this illustration on the tomato.
Is wrong. My tomato switch.
Well, it may be that, I don't think that's really relevant to my question, although it may be. So if you move the light source back move back to 4 feet, that specular is more or less unaffected. The specular is a result of the reflector, not the light source, right? I mean, indirectly, it's the light source, but it's the reflector and its position determines where the specular on the tomato is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me turn my tomato. I don't know why it did that.
And if
we
my
go.
questions are elementary as they are,
Yeah. No, this is
where I am. I don't know shit about this.
you're probably not gonna get a specular on this tomato unless you'll get a soft one. Your fill card is here. When you move it back to here and here, you're going to get much less of a specular and much more of a fill to the shadow and a little bit brighter. If you're having a black background, one of the things you don't want to ever happen is for the tomato to just go into black and be mixed into the background, right? You want to see that. If you don't want to put a rim on it, I just don't understand Photoshop after these changes, guys. I got to tell you, I've been in Photoshop since my first one was Photoshop 2.1, and now everything moves all the time. I don't get it. If you move it back here, now you're going to get a little highlight on that rim, okay? But that's a specific look. That's a kicker light look. If you move it out to here, you don't have the kicker. You just have the tomato is bright enough that it doesn't go into the background. So we're just controlling that. That's the fun part of tabletop is when you're playing with all this stuff here. This is really cool. Let's go look at a couple of images really quick here. I know I'm keeping you from a Saturday morning, but
What happens if you tilt the reflector 45 degrees?
hold on. Let me go back. Explain to me what you
That's kind of where I'm trying to go with it.
tell me what you mean by 45 degrees.
Well, now it's at straight up and down. If you took that and turned it 45 degrees from the position it's in. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to-
Absolutely. You can do that.
No, I know you can. I'm asking what's the effect? Explain the effect.
Do it and
that's
look.
gonna
Do it
do.
and look. It's going to be different on everything, Jay. If I said, what's the effect? I mean, it would matter. On the tomato, it might be this. On a potato, it might be that because it's matte. On glass.
Well, I'm only asking relative to this particular illustration, so I
Oh.
have an idea of what I'm looking for. I just want to know now how that affects it, and that's what I'm trying to understand during the class.
It's not a whole lot, but
It would move it though.
yeah, it's also changing the power of the light hitting it, right?
Right, right.
So it's going to get less bright. The more I turn it from the light, it's going to get less bright.
The other thing, Jay, is from wherever the object is, pretend you're a little ant on that object looking at either the scrim or looking at the reflector. And when you turn that angle, that little ant will see a smaller reflector. And so the light will be a little bit smaller on the tomato.
Yes, and
Yeah,
you can also on a shot like this, and you're right. That's exactly how I light. If you follow the link to my lighting class, the free lighting class, subject centric lighting, I look at light from the subject out, not the light in, because everything is that lighting does is determined by the surface of the subject. Is it matte? Is it shiny? Etc. So let's say you're an ant over here, and I turn this like this. Well, that's going to be brighter right on that rim and then get less bright as it comes around this part of the tomato because it's farther away. And as it gets farther away, it diminishes in size, right? If I'm putting it, the reason I had it flat is, again, if I put up every variation here for you guys to do this assignment, everybody would have quit the first day. I'm not doing all that. So you do as much as you want. And if you put it this way, it's going to be brighter right up here than it is back here. And the light's going to fall away. If you put it this way, you're going to get a highlight directly opposite the highlight of your strobe. Move it all around and see what happens. Another thing, and this was one of the things I thought you were going to ask because you can do this. That thing that you bought at the dollar store, the little V thing, right?
Now it's three-sided, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the other side can bend out here. So you got this little V. Imagine putting that V like this and like this. Now you've got this fill and you've got a rim light in one card. Pretty cool, huh? I use V cards on the table all the time. We're going to get to that. That's going to be an assignment coming up. But just think about all the different ways you can do it. And again, remember, there's no wrong way. There is no wrong way. It's just learning about the different ways. And you will have such a greater understanding of tabletop light. You do this and you're halfway home. Seriously.
Do
Seriously.
you recommend doing this exercise with something that is shiny? I don't have any tomatoes available, but or does it even matter? A bottle?
It should be something shiny, round and shiny.
round and shiny.
Yeah, not a bottle, not a bottle.
Not a
Round
bottle.
and shiny. Shiny rubber ball from
Billiard
you could do it. Shiny rubber ball from the dollar store.
Okay,
You know, try to make it dark red or something. Light yellow is going to be difficult to
one
see.
color,
Huh?
one color.
One color, dark, blue,
Aubergine.
maroon, something like that,
Apple.
so that you can see the highlights. Because on what color is a highlight?
Color of the light.
White, you generally, right? White. Highlights are white. So on a
Yeah.
white ball, you don't see the highlight.
Right.
On a black ball, all you see is the highlight. So go somewhere in the middle so you can see the wrap of the light. A tomato works, an apple will work, you know.
An
stuff.
aubergine?
Huh?
An aubergine? Aubergine, the purple one, but she's not rounded there, but it's
An eggplant.
an eggplant. That's what you call in the
Yeah, an
States.
eggplant would work. They're just awfully big to deal with 4-inch segments. That's all.
Okay, and then, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
That's clear.
I do have
Okay.
a watermelon on the counter we harvested from the garden.
Yeah, a small squash, a small, even a small watermelon, that would work. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get over here and look
Yeah, I
at
have
this.
the last watermelon of the season. It's about that big.
The images, great.
Get up here.
This is all uploaded, all this material now, yeah.
What's that?
Will it be all uploaded, what you're talking about, all the images?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at the fall off on this mushroom.
Yeah,
It's really dramatic, right? We go back
yes.
and look at the site. He's got it maybe 3 inches from the scrim, and he's using a snoot to get us the little poppy light here. So this snoot is lighting up a circle right about there on the scrim, but the scrim is lit from here to here, right? Because the scrim material, the light transfers through it. So it's not just a bright spot here. The whole scrim is lit up. This is just a whole lot darker than that bright spot. Let's go back to the mushroom here. See the highlight?
Yeah.
Tiny, but it works so nicely. In this shot, all about texture, using, she used one of my favorite things is an old baking pan. Never let anybody in your neighborhood throw out an old baking pan because it's all crusty and burned and dingy and stuff. Grab that bad boy. It makes a great background. So she's put her items down here. She wants a little bit flatter light across this. Oops, so where's her shot here? So she's got her scrim up here. She's got her light back here. And these items are about a foot from the scrim coming in. And she
And
shot it
she's-
sideways. Yeah. Say it again.
The camera is on top, it's over.
Yes.
It's over.
Camera is
Yeah.
shooting straight down into this little pie tin here.
Okay.
And notice just a tiny little fill card. You see the fill card right there?
Yeah,
Tiny fill card to only fill the sides, not fill the top. So if the fill card came up over high up to here, it would illuminate the tops of the mushrooms as well. So we go back and look at the shot.
yeah,
You see the tops are not illuminated well. That gives us texture. Highlight, shadow makes texture. A nice little set there. This one, I absolutely adore this. This is, I have something I always say to my students, show me something I haven't seen before. Okay? Here's a rule of thumb, and I know all of you are photographers. It doesn't matter what kind of photographer you are. This is a rule of thumb. If you pick that camera up and you look through the lens, ask yourself this question. Could my neighbor, who's not a photographer, make this photograph? Because if the answer is yes, maybe you need to work harder. If it's so simple that your neighbor, who's a plumber, who has a little point and shoot thing or an iPhone, can make that photograph, then anybody can make that photograph. How are you going to make a difference? And it usually has to do with, are you willing to squat down? lay down or stand on a step ladder. Because all of the photographs in the world, and I can say this with, using the word all because the percentage I'm off is not enough to count. They're made from between 4 feet high so 4.5 feet high and 5.5 feet high. The standing adult position, stand there and we take a picture. Change it up by instantly changing your point of view. Okay? Conversely, shooting a mushroom. Everybody shoots mushrooms. Nobody shoots them like this. This is showing us the beauty of the mushroom itself. Look at the exquisite lighting on it and how is it done? Where is that image here? Oh, here we go. It's got this is the shot he used, wrong mushroom, but this is what he was doing right on that little surface. Big giant scrim with a Godox 8200 behind it.
Naked without any softbox? How
Huh?
was it? Was the AD200 in a softbox?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of, but he's lit the whole thing up. So it's back far enough to light that whole thing up.
Yeah.
To be a giant soft light with the mushroom, 8 inches from it, 10 inches maybe. And what does that happen? What happens then? You get this exquisite light. Notice the light is coming all the way on top of this mushroom, right? Notice his scrim goes out of the picture up here. If that scrim only came to this tall, would it light on top of the mushroom? No, it would light the side of the mushroom,
Not the top.
not the top. See how deliberate he's being?
Yeah, very nice.
This is fun. This is one light shot basically into the light. This
Yeah,
this is
I can see
Michaela's
that.
some kind of shiitake mushroom or something. She's shooting into the light, that one big beautiful light, and nothing is in order here for some reason. And she's just using this giant fill board on the side to add some light to it. She's shooting right into her window. She's got a curtain down over the window, into the window. This is just filling it in.
Yeah.
And isn't that just gorgeous? No fill on this side. That's just ambient light filling over here.
Beautiful.
And then we have another mushroom. Really terrific. It's so evenly lit. Let's look at I think this is it. Yep. This is the shot. He created his own little softbox here. Now, this isn't a big light, but it is to the mushroom, right? It is to the mushroom. It's not big to our world, but it is to the mushroom. It's 4 or 5 times the height of the mushroom. And he's just clipping it in there. Multiple fill cards just to keep everything kind of nice and even in here as much as he can. Pick it off. You learn so much by looking at. That's why we insist in my classes, and Luciana knows, we insist that you show us a behind the scenes shot because you learn a lot when you get to see what someone else did because you can just copy it.
Yeah.
The blueberries, beautifully lit. Not a whole lot of fill, but that's adding the drama to it. Some fill on the table here, but the blueberries are dark. How was it done? Big giant window, blueberries, fill card leaning back. If the fill card was straight up, it would add more light to the berries, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's where my
leaning.
question earlier was going, was angling the reflector and the effect that it has on your subject. It's just what you just explained. That's what I was trying to get my head around.
It's
Yeah.
45 degrees
Yeah,
angle.
you just have to think of that angle of incidence, angle of reflection. Move this around. You could do the shot with the card up here. Would it be a better shot or a worse shot? No,
Be
it would just be
different.
different. It would just be different. What the
Right.
best shot is the one that you made that looks just like what you wanted it to look like in your head. So a terrific way of doing it. I also wanted to remind people that you don't have to buy soft boxes or even make scrims. Isn't that lovely?
That's lovely. That really is.
That's a
Really is.
whiteboard with a flash shining on the whiteboard.
Sure as hell.
Flash is back here.
Oh,
See it? Just picking out, and it's just lighting up a whiteboard. That's all it's doing.
it's a reflective. Oh, I see. It's the board that lightens the.
Mhm. The
So
board lights
flash-
up, lights up this stuff here. Ken Howie, we pull
Bouncing.
Ken
It's a
stuff.
bounce. It's a bouncing the flash.
Uh-huh.
He's bouncing the flash off a black reflector back onto.
No,
a
the black
white
reflector is keeping the light from getting to the
Yeah.
camera. Otherwise,
It's
you're
on the
shooting into
white.
the light. He's just
Yeah.
flagged it
so
off.
It's flagged. Yeah.
So the black is behind the light and the light is facing directly at the white reflector and then back down onto the mushroom,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Just lighting up this whiteboard
And
here.
then this other reflector is just bouncing whatever's left back onto the subject.
Yes, this is coming from here. This is the fill card. This is now the light, right?
Right.
This
right.
is the light source. This is the main source. This is the light source. This is
And-
bouncing it back. Let's go back and look at this.
And the window is a fill light because he said he's got a window on the other side. So it's filling the light, the window. Correct, Don?
No, this is filling the light.
And so the window, what does he do the window then?
Where's a window?
At the
Down,
bottom.
down at the
There's a
bottom,
window
it
in
says window.
At
Oh.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So the-
I don't remember what he did with the window. Maybe he's using it for ambient light.
That's ambient
Yeah.
light, yeah.
For the shadows.
So
But
it's
just-
coming in. Okay, I get it.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. You do not have to. I'll show you Ken's stuff here in a second, and then Then the last thing. Do we have time? Yeah. The last thing is I'm going to show you the ambient light test, so you can figure out how to blend your strobe with ambient. And the last one here is just a beautiful photograph. I got to tell you, just gorgeous. And how is it done? This is where the photographer used a grid on the light to make a very bright spot on that scrim, which now remember, the rest of the scrim is still lighting up, so that's providing all the other lighting. But go back and look at what it did here. It created that beautiful, bright hot spot.
Beautiful.
Now you
Really
can
nice.
move that light back and get a much smoother hot spot. Would it make the picture worse or better? No, it would just be different. You know, I happen to really, really love this look. Now, she added in Photoshop, she added a little bit of glow to the image. So there's just a little bit of glow. How she did it was in Lightroom. Do y'all use Lightroom? Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's Photoshop.
You use you don't use Lightroom?
Usually not.
You use the raw editor in
Yeah.
Oh, it's same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. So what she did was she isolated the highlights with a mask, lowered the clarity, and lowered the
texture.
the what? Texture, and then the other one,
Haze.
Is
dehaze. Thank you. I'm really good in Photoshop. I can't do it in my head. Have you ever tried to explain someone how to do Photoshop from your head, and you kind of bring it down to the I can't remember.
automatic.
My brain just goes, and then she just blended those masks in, and she got that little bit of glow. I just think that's a terrific.
I think what's intriguing about that, well, one of the things that's intriguing about that is the way the light is reflected off the edge of the black bowl.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the way around it, all the
Yep.
way around it.
Yeah, and that was, by the way, she worked to make sure that we wouldn't lose that. Can you see how important that would be?
Yeah,
If we
absolutely.
lost that, it's a little thing, but
It defines the space.
exactly. And talking about space, Notice where the set is. It's at the back of the board, not in the middle. We want to see a background. If she had moved this whole set forward and all this wood came up to here, wouldn't work. Wouldn't
No.
work. Don't work in the middle of the table unless you have a reason to show me the background behind it. If you don't have a reason to show me the background behind it, work back towards the edge. And always, always, always look at your horizon. Where is your horizon cutting? Because if it's cutting right here, right on the curve of that persimmon, right? Perfect. If it cuts up here, we're going to lose the curve. Could it cut down lower? Yeah, probably. I don't think we need to see that. We could have moved the horizon down to here, right through that, and not seen that back here. But that's a minor. That's me being really nitpicky, and I can be really nitpicky. But does it hurt the photograph? No, not at all. Just think of when you're looking through your camera, look at it and ask yourself, do I need that background behind my subject? If the answer is no, move it back. Okay?
I would have lowered the line a bit.
Well, if you lower the line, you're changing the composition. So that's not right or wrong, but you're changing the composition.
yeah, sure.
This whole composition could be moved back. In fact, we could just cut it off right here in Photoshop, right? Take that out and make it black. We can do that. But if you change your camera angle, yes, if you come down, your horizon will lower. If you come up, your horizon will come up. That's why I never shoot people standing up. I shoot people sitting down because I don't want the horizon line to be at their shoulders. I want it to be at their waist, or better off below their knees, which entails laying down on the ground, which was easy to do when you were 40, a little bit harder when you're 76. It's just getting down on the ground is easy. It's the other part that's kind of tricky. So,
Don, can you explain how you would do the highlights in Photoshop? You explain it in Lightroom, and with the mask, but how would you do it quickly in Photoshop?
capture raw filter.
The highlights, the way she
Yes, you capture raw filter. You're just going to go back into Photoshop's Lightroom, which is called
Camera Raw.
Camera Raw, and do it there.
No, but I want to do it in Photoshop, not in.
Yeah, so use
Yeah,
Camera
Camera
Raw.
You
Raw.
can't do it in Photoshop.
You can't. Okay.
Whole different. You
Well,
could. It's just a whole lot different steps because you don't have that masking ability.
I
Yeah.
was curious because you mentioned Photoshop, but there is no masking in Photoshop. So
Yes, in the Camera Raw filter.
okay, yeah, but in Lightroom is the same. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back over to let's go up here. I'm going to make a new layer and then I'll share here in a second. New layer. All right. New layer. Gotta fill it with white.
Can this fruit be used instead of the tomato for the assignment? Because I got it in the house because it's the season here at the moment. You said that it would be better to use a tomato because it's shiny.
Right.
This fruit, will it be the same in terms of
If it's shiny and about that big, I mean, you can't use something this big.
Yeah.
That we'd have to change all the numbers because it's actually going across the 4 inches, right?
Yeah.
So as long as it's something about this big, like it could be an apple, an orange, a persimmon, anything that's shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought your idea of an eggplant would be splendid. It really would.
The eggplant, yeah.
Yeah. And you should, when you're done with the tomato, do the eggplant. You're just going to probably start at 4 inches rather than, at 8 inches rather than 4 inches, etc., and move it back. Yeah. All of it, everything. And then try something that's not shiny.
And then when you're done with the shoot, you make brunch.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to talk about shutter speed, ambient, and flash. Okay. So your flash is determined by your flash duration. When you buy a flash, it'll tell you what your flash duration is at various powers. a cheap, inexpensive Amazon Speedlight, its fastest flash duration is about 1/1200th of a second at minimal power. So at 16th power, 32nd power, it'd be about 1/1200th of a second. At full power, it could be as much as a 600th of a second because it's got a long ramp to go before it fires. So the more power you have, the longer it takes to ramp, and of course, the longer it takes to recycle because it's got to build up all that ramp. That's still shorter than your flash sync on your camera, which is generally at 200th or less. So that matters. So you've got your subject here, and you've got your, I'm just going to do real simple drawings. You've got your flash here.
We're still seeing the
Oh, you're not,
persimmon.
okay, sorry. Got your subject, and you've got your flash. And then you've got that same string meter. Your flash is at 4 inches here, and it's giving you in this case, let's say it's giving you f/16. When you shoot this picture at 1/200th of a second in a dark room, 1/200th of a second, or 1 minute, take a minute exposure of that, it's always going to be f/16, and it's always going to be lit well because there is no ambient. But now we have our subject in a landscape. And out here we've got, let's just say, an old barn, because that's fun to draw. We got an old barn out here, and it's sunny. It's in the sun. Our exposure is f/16 at 1/ISO. So let's say you're shooting at ISO 100, f/16 at 100. So you bring your flash in here to give you f/16. Now, is your subject in the sun or in the shade? If it's in the sun, what did you just do to the light on the subject?
Increased it.
You doubled it, right? It's getting f/16 from the sun and f/16 from your flash. So you've now overexposed the subject. With
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Well, let's bring our subject into the shade. And now you shoot it here. f/16 on the subject, f/16 on the background. Now your subject is lit the same as the background. Exposures match. With me?
Mhm.
Everybody with me? Jay, you good?
I'm listening.
Let's say you want the background to be 1 stop darker. You could change your shutter speed, right? From 1/100th to 1/200th, right?
Mhm.
No,
No.
no,
Yeah, so
you're right. No, you're right. If I change my shutter speed, what did I do to the barn out here? You're right. We change our shutter speed.
you get more lighting, ambient lighting, by changing the shutter speed. Let's say if you are,
No, we get less. We just changed it to 1 stop faster. We've now underexposed our barn. Our barn is 1/100 shutter speed. We just changed it to 1/200. We've taken our
okay.
barn down a stop.
Yeah. Sorry, it was the other. Yeah. Yes. Of
What have
course.
we done to our subject?
Stays the same.
Nothing. Right. Stays the same.
Yeah, it's only the ambient because the shutter speed controls
Right.
the ambient.
Exactly. The shutter speed controls the barn. The flash controls the subject. What controls the flash? How powerful it is and how close we moved it in. Power and distance. This doesn't change. So how do we do an exercise to show you how to do this? This one is actually quite easy. Let's go back to here. Nope. Here, share. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you go out, create a scene. Just put your camera on a tripod, on the porch in the shade. The porch in the shade. Put your subject here. You can do it. You can just, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. And you can do this with hard light too, Jay. No, you can't. You can't do this. This is a flash only. Okay. You can control it by moving how close you're to match it. You can do that with your continuous light because the sun is continuous light with flash. Set your flash up, put it on 1/4 power, and then use your meter to get F11. F11 on your subject. Okay? Your background, your daylight is F16 at 1/100th of a second because you're using ISO 100. Bright daylight. This doesn't work in this works in anything, but let's just do daylight. 100. So you're going to do F11 here, and you're going to put your camera on F11. You're going to shoot it at 160, 1/100th, 1/200th. And you're going to watch your subject stay the same and your background get darker or lighter. At 1/60th, it's going to be brighter.
Yeah.
At 1/200th, it's going to be darker.
Okay.
But
Yep.
this guy remains the same because it's lit by flash and the flash doesn't change.
Yeah. Only the shutter speed control the ambient.
The control, controls this. Where we put the flash controls this. The power and the distance.
So regardless of a shutter speed, the subject will be lit exactly the same.
Yes, if you're in the shade.
Yeah.
If you get down to 1/15th of a second, it's going to start getting a little bit brighter. Why? Because now your ambient mixing in. You're starting to get some ambient into your picture, and it's adding to the exposure. But this would be great. And if you have a mirrorless camera, do 1/400th.
So
If you 1/800th, then now the background looks like it's dark. It looks like it's midnight out there, but there's nothing changed on your subject.
So if no, sorry, if you were to change the scene and put the subject in the sun instead of instead of being in the shadow, then the relation will change because
well, there wouldn't be any reason to do it.
no, really, because I would never do that. But
Except maybe to fill in the shadow. So if the sun was coming, you got a subject here, let's say wine bottle, and you got the sun up here, and it's F16, and we're using ISO over 1/100th of a second, and we've got that old barn back there, right? And we shoot it at F16. That's great, right? We've got the bottle in the barn, and what's on this side of the bottle? Dark shadow, right? So you could put your flash over here to be the same power and distance to give you F16 because you've already done that. You know how far away and at what power gives you F16. Put it there and now you just light the shadow up and now it totally matches on both sides. So you can do that. There's different ways to play with that. But I just want you to do that one exercise with your flash. And Jay, when you get a flash, you can come back to this exercise. I'll formalize it here on the page as well. Okay.
Can I ask you? You could put the subject in the shadow, but have create some of the highlights with the sun on his hair, for instance. Okay, that another way of using this technique.
Okay, you've got the sunlight, or let's say you've got the sun back there. Got your subject. You're talking about like a person.
Yes.
Okay, you got a person, and you're in.
Yeah.
You got tree. You got a tree
Yeah,
up here, and it's
exactly.
dappled sunlight.
Yeah, and you want some highlights on the hair just to create enough.
Put the highlight on the hair. That highlight on the hair is F16, right? At 1/100 ISO. With me?
Yes.
Now, if you're under a tree, you'll notice that even the highlights coming through the tree are not going to be 16. They're going to be more like 11 because they're being compressed into the tree and you're in the shadow. So when you're in the shadow, what's your body reflecting? Dark, right? So, but let's just keep it theoretically here. F16 at 1/100. You move your strobe in here. And now the person's face is all dark and everything, right?
Sure.
Super dark. They're in the shade. You just set your flash to give you F16, power and distance. Use your string and your power and distance. Now the person's reading F16. Are those highlights still going to show? Yes, because they're reflected back. Will they be as bright? No, they won't. They won't be as bright because you're matching them, right? So what if you shoot your subject at F11 with your strobe? You're shooting at F11. When you're shooting at F11, the F16 highlights are one stop brighter. Now you have highlights.
Yeah. Got it.
So we have our assignment to turn in before next Saturday.
Mhm.
Is there an assignment for the following Saturday that we have?
It'll be up there today.
Okay.
Yep. It'll be up there today. All right.
Thank you. That's all. I think is all clear now. Yeah.
All right. So I'll have the video up later this afternoon. And you can
Yes.
scrub through it. I will also put up the the transcript of the video so you can go through the transcript and find the places what we were talking about. All
Oh,
right?
great. Yes.
Great.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Thank
Okay,
you so
Alrighty.
much.
thank you.
Thank you
Talk to
very
you
much.
soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.